Smartphones today tend to focus on one feature. Whether it's screen size, battery, or processor speed, these phones are great for buyers looking for specifics. But what if you're not looking into specifics and just want a great all-around smartphone? This is my long-awaited full review of the JIAYU G4S. Looking at the specifications, there's really nothing that stands out, and that's actually okay. In fact, the G4S doesn't need a star feature or framed capability. Nearly everything about it, spec-wise, is good. Like every review, I'll start off with a design. It's available in both matte black or glossy white. The back of the device easily collected fingerprints. There's also a very slight camera hump on the top left and a speaker on the bottom left. There's a noise-canceling microphone and LED flash near the camera. I don't like the glossy finish, as it makes the phone feel slippery and cheap. There's a power button on the right and a volume rocker on the left. Both buttons were easy to press, although the volume button was a bit difficult to reach when using the phone with just my right hand. There's a headphone jack on the top left and a micro USB port on the bottom. Coming to the front, you can see an aluminum band which wraps around the sides. This small amount of metal makes the sides of the phone easy to grip. It is a little on the thicker side at 10mm. However, it does contain a 3000 mAh battery, more on the battery life later. It also weighs 157 grams, making it somewhat heavy. On the front, you'll find 3 capacitive buttons, but a small amount of bezel. I really like this look and hope other phone makers take note. Call quality on the JIAYU G4S was average. I didn't have any dropped calls over the AT&T US network, however, I wasn't able to receive HSPA nor HSPA Plus data speeds. During the testing period, I was stuck with Edge speeds. This is significantly slower and may be a deal breaker for some people, including me. Please be sure to check the supported frequencies to see what speeds you'll be able to receive. Unlike many smartphones nowadays, the JIAYU G4S features a 4.7-inch 720p Corning Gorilla Glass 2 display. I think this is the perfect size for one-hand use. I didn't manage to scratch the display during my month of testing, despite it being coated in the older Gorilla Glass 2. The display itself is really good. It doesn't have the best viewing angles, and it can be a little difficult to see in direct sunlight, but its color reproduction and contrast ratio are incredible. At this size, the difference between 720p and 1080p isn't all that apparent. I'd rather have the battery life than a few unnecessary pixels. The notification LED at the top of the G4S is really bright. I found the green to be pretty ugly, but you can customize the colors using a free app called LightFlow, link in the description. It isn't a full RGB LED, but it does have a few additional colors. The JIAYU G4S has one of the loudest speakers that I have tested on a smartphone. Unfortunately, it does sound distorted at full volume and can be easily blocked due to the speaker placement. Also, when playing media at mute, the G4S plays a small amount of white noise. The THL W200S also had this issue, but it's unlikely you'll notice it too much. The JIAYU G4S has a 13-megapixel BSI rear camera. If I had to describe it with one word, I would label it as inconsistent. Most of the shots I took with the G4S were overexposed and noisy. Some, however, were surprisingly good with minor exposure issues. There is also an option to use voice commands to take an image. Sadly, these commands don't work for English speakers, although it would have been very cool to test. I also recorded some video. The JIAYU G4S runs Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean. Out of the box, the UI is heavily customized. Icons, lock screen, recent app switching, notification setter, and settings are all customized. Luckily, you can use the pre-installed Themes app to switch between a few themes. The custom themes all give the UI a similar look, but the system theme changes the icons, notification center, and settings back to stock. This is great, and I'm very happy that JIAYU gives the choice to switch most of the UI back. However, even when switching back to stock, the JIAYU logo that replaced the unlock logo on the lock screen remained. This is almost as bad as putting branding on a home button. I look at the lock screen hundreds of times each day, and I really don't need to be reminded that I bought a JIAYU phone. There are third-party replacements in the Play Store, but I feel it's an extra step that shouldn't need to be taken. Also, the recent app switcher remained the same with large screenshots and icons of the apps. I like the concept, but it occasionally fails to recognize swipes, making it cumbersome to use. Finally, the included keyboard. The keyboard itself is okay, but it often switches between English and Chinese, making Chinese the primary language often. The tutorial and settings are also in Chinese, so I had no idea what I was doing when I was using it for the first time. The first thing I did was go to the Play Store and download the Google keyboard. The included one just does not fit my needs, and probably won't fit yours unless you're a Chinese speaker. JIAYU seems to have removed many UI animations, which makes everything seem faster, but also unpolished. I don't think it was necessary, but maybe you'll like the change. There's also some audio enhancers that are oddly disabled by default. Now that I've discussed the software customization, I want to talk about the software version. It is still Jelly Bean, but JIAYU did release an official Android 4.4 KitKat preview ROM. It's awesome to see support for this phone, and there's also a couple dozen custom ROMs available. Unfortunately, the preview update does require a computer and a full wipe. I highly recommend backing up all of your apps and settings if you decide to do the update. This is still a preview, meaning that the update has not been finalized. I'll leave a link to the ROM in the video description for you to check out. Under the hood, the JIAYU G4S is powered by the MediaTek MTK6592 1.7 GHz Octa Core processor. As expected, this phone is really fast. There's really nothing to say about performance, it's just excellent. Also, with 2 GB of RAM, no hardware internal slowed the phone down. Games played absolutely fine on high and didn't drop any frames. The JIAYU G4S includes 16 GB of internal storage, and if that's not enough, you can insert a microSD card into the expansion slot. Unlike most Chinese phones, the G4S supports up to 64 GB, meaning you'll have plenty of room to expand. I did test GPS on the G4S without any issues, which seems to be the case with most newer devices. One of the main selling points of the JIAYU G4S is its dual SIM capability. This is great for users in emerging markets, however keep in mind that your supported frequency may limit your data speed. Battery life on the G4S was pretty average and it often lasted all day. The 3000 mAh battery is removable and provided just the right amount of capacity. I should note that since I only received edge speeds, this may not reflect your experience. If you purchase the JIAYU G4S from Pandawill, you will receive an English Quick Start Guide, a USB cable, and an AC adapter. I think the JIAYU G4S is a great all-around phone. It's not for everyone, but it is perfect for those looking for a mid-range device. And for under $200, it's priced very well. Make sure to visit the JIAYU G4S product page on Pandawill using the link in the description. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more phone unboxings and reviews.